Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Project PROA Adulting 101 series. Today we'll be talking about a beginner's guide to car shopping. So our presenters today are Jason Sanchez, which is me, Johnson Atalig, and Gerald Padrid. A quick disclaimer before we start. The information that we present to you is purely based off our research because we are not experts in this field. So we highly encourage you to do your own research should you decide to buy your own car. Let us begin. So today's presentation will cover a host of topics. First off, we'll be discussing the importance of having a car in college, as well as how it affects us as college students and how it contributes to our college lives, our lives as college students. Next, we'll be talking about purchasing your car and the aspects you should consider when purchasing a car. We'll be talking about the process of buying the car. You'll be looking at the car dealerships that are here in the CNMI, as well as the steps to actually getting the car. Next, we'll be talking about buying a second-hand or used vehicle and the factors to consider. And we'll be talking about the process after you get a car and the things to consider after. Then we'll be showing you the car dealership contact info as well as our references. So, cars in college. So as college students, transportation to and from classes as well as to our jobs is a major factor that we must always consider. By having a car, we are able to live and function independently. This aspect, along with other aspects of college life, will prepare us for a life ahead of us, including if we're planning to transfer to an off-island school after graduating from NMC. So, purchasing your car. So, when purchasing your car, there are some aspects that you should consider. One of which, first, is your financial situation. Second, your credit score and history. Third, is it a necessity or a want? Fourth, is considering your co-signers. Fifth, your down payments. Sixth, your interest rates. And 7, your monthly payments. So, financial situation. Do you currently have enough funds, or are you able to have a steady flow of income to pay for and maintain a vehicle? So some questions to consider to ask yourself is buying a car in your best financial interest right now? Do you have the money? You do not want to get entangled in payments for a car you can't afford and risk having the vehicle being repossessed by the bank or a creditor, as well as having your credit score and credit history damaged. So speaking of credit score, so your credit score is basically your history in paying loans. So your history in paying loans can determine whether you can qualify for a car loan or what kind of interest rate you can get. Keep in mind that many lenders do not just give out loans to anybody. A number of factors are considered, and one of those most important factors is your credit score. The better your credit score, the better your chances are of getting approved and getting the best rates. So, necessity or want. So, when determining whether you need a car, you should always ask yourself, do I really need it, or is it just that everyone else is getting and I want it? So, determine factors such as how far do I live from the campus? Can I access reliable carpooling or public transportation options, as well as other factors before you make a final decision? So, questions to consider. Do you already actually have a car, or did you just want a new type of car? Keep in mind that as college students, we don't necessarily need expensive or luxury vehicles, but instead a reliable car that can take you from point A to point B. So, also consider co-signers. So co-signers basically help you with your car loans in terms of guaranteeing a backup payer if necessary. If you do not pay for the car, your co-signer will help pay for it. If your co-signer has a good credit score, then obtaining a loan will be easier, and vice versa. Next, you have your down payments. So a down payment is basically the money you put down to secure the purchase of the car right at the moment, and it also contributes to the overall price of the car. So down payments depend on certain factors such as your credit score or whether or not you are buying a used or new vehicle. Interest rates is the amount added to the principal cost you would pay should you decide to finance or take out a loan on your car. Depending on factors such as your credit score history, it can influence whether you are offered high or low interest rates. So generally, the lower the interest rates, the better it is. Next, we have your monthly payments. So should you decide to take a loan out for your car, you'll have to repay that loan in order for the car to be truly owned by you and not by the bank. So monthly payments, in addition to your interest rate, are the monthly increments of payments you would make in order to pay off the loan if you had financed your car. So an average monthly car payment in the US, based on our research, is $568 for a new car and $397 for a used vehicle. So your monthly car payment will be determined by your financial history and your employment situation. Now I will hand over the presentation to our next presenter. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Gerald, and now we're going to talk about the process and the steps of getting a car. So before we go on to the following slides, me and my group members contacted a few car dealer shops to see what their process and what supporting documents you may need to get your own car. Overall, their responses were similar to one another, so we compiled it into these few slides. So what is the process of getting a car? So of course, you can go into any of the car dealer shops that we have here in Ireland. You can walk around, see what cars you may be interested in. And then, of course, you need to bring the supporting documents, which is your driver's license and your recent paycheck stubs. You need to also fill out an application, but also fill out the rest of the other documents such as insurance and your car registration. The rest of the other documents that need to be filled out will be assisted with the sales representative. When it comes to your down payment, it really depends on you as the buyer, as it really depends on you how much you can be able to down pay. And with that down pay, they also check your credit scores to see how much you can be able to get a loan, depending on the type of bank that works with the car dealer shops, but also to see how much you can pay as well, depending on how much you get each paycheck. Now, the key idea here is credit score checks, because when it comes to getting a car, usually also in the United States, credit scores is also a very big thing towards getting a car. But what if, usually for college students, for those who do not have a credit score, how do we get a car without a credit score? Now, the car dealer shops also responded towards this, and it is not impossible to get a car without a credit score. So you can, but it is going to be a little bit difficult to get the car. So they said it is required to at least give off a minimum of 10% of your down payment. And there's also other suggestions, such as contacting a bank to see if you can and if you are eligible to receive a loan from them. With that said, they also check your employment history, just like the car dealer shops. But for college students, when I contacted them, when I contacted a car dealer shop, for example, such as Student Motors, they asked me if I was receiving financial aid. And so it is part of the process when it comes to checking your eligibility towards receiving and paying off your car. But the best suggestion that the sales representative told me is to get a co-signer with you. What a co-signer is when you do receive or get accepted to get a loan from the bank, there is an agreement form with the co-signer saying that if you, the buyer who's paying off the car or paying off the loan, can't be able to pay off the loan, the co-signer will be able to do that. The co-signer is responsible for paying the rest of the amount or paying off the loan if the time you do cannot pay off the loan itself. So that is what a co-signer is. So with that said, there are 3 common car dealer shops here we have on Saipan, which is Triple J Motors, which is located in Beach Road. We have Atkins Crow, also known as Toyota, which is located near San Jose Beach Road. And then we also have, last but not least, Student Motors, which is located in Beach Road as well, close to First Hawaiian Bank. So you can go to any of these car dealer shops and they can be able to assist you with the process, with the supporting documents, and with further help or questions that you may have when it comes to getting a car.
Hello everyone, my name is Atalig, and now we're going to talk a little bit about buying a second-hand car or a used vehicle. And sometimes it is within your best financial interest to actually buy a secondhand car or a used vehicle simply because it is much cheaper than buying a brand new vehicle. Okay, with that said, there are a number of factors that you need to consider before purchasing a used car. So the first one is vehicle history. So, this is where you would really want to take a look at the traffic history or its travel history and see if the car has been in any accidents, and if so, was the damage dealt with properly? And that really moves into our next factor, which is condition. So, it is recommended when buying a used car that you visit a trusted mechanic to have your car assessed. That way you can get an idea of the overall condition of the car. Next is registration and insurance. Just like buying a new car, registration and insurance is incredibly important. It is required by law that every car that is on a public road is registered and insured. The next factor is mileage and value. So when we talk about mileage, you want to consider how much mileage is on the car, and this will kind of tell you whether or not the car was seldom used or overused. And of course, value. When you are purchasing a used car, it's important that you get the car valued to ensure that you are paying the appropriate price. And the last factor to consider is paperwork. And just like buying a new car, it doesn't officially and legally belong to you until you do the paperwork to prove your ownership. So in order to do that, you need to fill out the appropriate paperwork. Okay, and next we're going to talk a little bit about what happens after you get a car. So just like almost all the sections in this video, there are a number of factors that you need to consider as well after you get a car. So the first thing to consider is parking, or where you're going to put your vehicle when you are not using it. And this is where you would consider, your living situation, your job, and of course your school. Are there places for you to park your car at your home? How about at your place of employment? And lastly, at school, does your university or college charge you for parking? This is something that you really need to consider because fees do add up over time. Next one is registration and insurance. As I mentioned before, it is required by CNMI law that every car or vehicle on a public road is registered and insured, and registration and insurance cost money. So this is something that you need to consider that would happen after you get a car. Next is maintenance. So just like almost everything in life, you need to keep it well maintained. And that again costs money and will come out of your pocket eventually when you buy a car. You need to go ahead and regularly schedule the upkeep of your car to extend its life. And the last one is gas or fuel. Of course, every car needs gas or fuel to run, and gas costs money. So you need to consider if you're ready to take on that financial load, every week or every month when you're filling up your gas tank. Okay. And this is just a slide on some of the car dealership contact information. So at first we have Triple J Saipan. So for sales and service, you can go ahead and call 234-7133. Jolton Motors for sales and service, you can call 234-5562. And Atkins Pro Saipan for sales and service, you can call 234-5911. And feel free to take a screenshot at this point of the video in case you want to refer to this later on. Okay, and these are just some of our references. We did research all of this information for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope you learned a lot about getting a new car or a used car. And thank you guys very much for participating, and have a great day.